Before today's talk on non resistance, I just wanted to share that this weekend, on Saturday, November 8th, we are having an online retreat on the topic of emotional mastery, where we will be covering this theme of non resistance, total acceptance, surrender very deeply. So if you struggle with emotional reactiveness, fear, anxiousness, then consider joining us this weekend. It's going to be a wonderful day of diving deep into the subject and experiencing our true nature of unconditional peace, from where we are able to stop being reactive, stop fearing life. I will leave the registration link below in the description. You can check it out after you watch today's video. Thanks. See you there. The theme of today's guidance will be weakening the ego through non resistance. Resistance isn't something that the ego does, it is the ego in action. So, non resistance is the antidote, which is why also non resistance will not seem practical to the person, to the ego. We find great pleasure in resisting. We find a sense of um, justness, like I'm entitled to resist because life is doing me wrong, or someone else is doing me wrong, or life isn't as it should be. So resistance feels like a legitimate response. And perhaps somewhere unknowingly, we are under the impression that resistance will help better my situation. So, from the personal point of view, it seems very, very legitimate, appropriate, like the right thing to do. But we do not realize that it only creates pain, further complexity in whichever situation, that it doesn't create happiness, doesn't lead to happiness either. And that although it may seem legitimate and appropriate, it is never really the right response. And the right response meaning one that creates harmony and happiness for us and others. Instead, it only creates pain and suffering for us and others. Because when our judgment and our actions are filtered with resistance, we are only incapable of creating pain in our lives. No matter how many good things you may do, they will lead back to the same pain. Because this spiritual lesson has to be learned ultimately, that resistance is useless and dysfunctional. The ego, which is resistance, can never really be satisfied. It is resistance itself. It operates through resistance, through judgment, through the notion something is wrong and something needs to change in order for me to be happy. So that belief, how can it ever find fulfillment? Whatever it finds, it is unfulfilled. So resistance is ignorance. The idea that life should be something other than what it is right now is ignorance. When we relax away from this idea that something should be other than what it is right now, That is when spiritual growth is actually, it becomes open to us. That's when wisdom becomes accessible. So take a look at your life right now and see all the things you don't like and things you wish were different, that they should change, should be this way, not that way. And for right now, allow everything to be as it is. Relax away from wishing it was different. The mind, which has a hard time with this, understanding this, reasoning this, relax away even from the mind which doesn't understand this. Relax into that which has no need to understand. It just is as it is. Pure allowance, pure awareness of whatever is appearing. There may be circumstances which are quite chaotic. Maybe financial situation which is uncertain. People who are problematic. Perhaps a body riddled with illness, or a mental, emotional issue. And you may be facing a difficult path in regards to all of these challenges and having to deal with them, move towards betterment within them, find your way back to balance or relief. Even despite this all is as it should be. There's nothing wrong with you having a years long health issue that you have to deal with. And you keep trying to heal, but you're maybe not finding healing. There's nothing wrong with that. That's life as it is. Open yourself up to experiencing that without resistance. Let that be your story for the time being. How it unfolds, you do not know. Do not create assumptions, but do not resist what it is. We may have a years long financial issue or relationship issue. We keep trying to work at it. Everything is as it is doesn't mean that we don't work at it. The very fact that we have to work at it towards betterment is exactly as it is. Let go of resistance to the fact that you have to work at it, that you have to face inconvenience, pain, limitation. There's nothing wrong with limitation. What is not what is wrong is not the issue itself. It is your belief that you shouldn't be experiencing this issue and that your life should be perfect to your design. Wake up and realize this. You are trying to live life by your design, not by God's design. In that alone lies your suffering. You can have your plan for life, but ultimately you must surrender to God's plan or life or source's plan, which is what happens moment by moment. When you are in opposition to what is, you are fighting against yourself and you are creating your own suffering. And you will live in the delusion that your suffering is happening from outside, but it is never true. In resistance, there's only suffering. Firstly, resistance never really helps you better your circumstances anyway. That alone should be enough for you to see that it is useless. But resistance isolates you from the rest of creation, makes you feel like you are a victim of the rest of creation. It isolates us in a very limited point of view, in which we really feel that the cause of our suffering is outside, something that is being done to me. And then we can't meditate because we are lost in our ideas of what things should be and should not be. This is why without surrender, which is non resistance, there's no meditation. This is a giant discovery in the path of meditation, that the reason our mind is so restless is because we are in opposition to what is. We have many strong convictions about what should be and should not be. So resistance is the root of even spiritual difficulty, difficulty to progress in the meditation. And what within you is so attached to your resistance, feeling so challenged and threatened that your resistance is sort of being poked at. That prideful one is what we need to let go of. It's not self. You are not that person for whom resistance means so much. You are not that person who really believes, oh my God, life is doing me very wrong. And I'm fully justified in feeling this way. Relax away from that identity. It's not you. Stop believing in it. Stop holding on to what is creating your pain. All is as it is for your spiritual benefit. In resistance, you are completely blind to what you need to learn, how you need to grow. Through the practice of non resistance, surrender, allowance, we are open, receptive, free. Non resistance is not even a bridge towards being free from suffering. Non resistance is letting go of suffering. You only suffer what you resist. Put this into practice, confirm it. You only suffer what you resist. Non resistance may be the deepest spiritual practice there is. Doesn't seem like it, but it very well may be so. It is rooted in deep wisdom. It forces you to transcend the ego, and it forces you into your true nature, being as you are. Because non resistance is only possible as your true self. All that is possible for the ego is resistance. All efforts towards non resistance bring you inward, make you more receptive to the recognition of your true position, your formless being. So accept all of your life for whatever it is, for whatever limitations that have been placed in it. Let go of fighting. Let go of believing that your life story should have gone differently or should go differently or should go the way that you want it to. You can have your wants, you can have your plans, but do not be attached to them. If you were in control, you'd be able to enforce your plans. How has that worked out for you so far? Even the things we think we are controlling, we are not controlling. Have your plan, but accept life's plan. Never be in opposition to what is. Work towards whatever betterment you need to from the position of non resistance. Non resistance to even the fact that you have to go through so much inconvenience and difficult things in order to work towards betterment. If something is out of balance, work to bring it back to balance. If there is a problem, work to solve it from the position of non resistance. If there is pain, experience it without resistance. This is something we don't even know is possible until this teaching gracefully opens this door for us. Your experience may be painful, but it is your resistance to the pain which is called suffering. You don't need to be in pain and suffer. You can experience pain without resistance and suffering. Enjoy the different, unique flavors of life. Having a limited body is a unique experience of life. Having limitations in living situation or financial situation, relationship situation, just any and all personal situations. They're all different flavors of life. None of them are wrong. Experience them all for what they are, as they are, without imbuing your entire life force into a desire to change them, imbuing your entire belief in the idea that, oh, this is not right. This shouldn't happen. I shouldn't be experiencing this. Include everything in your seeing, include everything in your allowance. It's a beautiful way to live where happiness is no longer on the other side of some circumstance. From the outside, you may look the same to someone else, but inwardly, this is the path to freedom. And from the outside, your circumstances may look very limiting to someone else who may have more abundant circumstances. But inwardly, that's where freedom really lies. Freedom is not on the outside level. Outside freedom is not really freedom. Circumstances move with the winds of destiny. Good fortune, bad fortune, you do not control, you do not create, you do not cause. The earnest spiritual seeker has to ultimately understand this. Your spiritual journey may have began as a pursuit to change your fortune from bad to good. And that's okay. But gradually you mature out of that stage. Don't cling to that stage, chasing good fortune. That is not spirituality. Non-resistance to what is, total openness to what may come. No strong convictions, no specific attachments. I told you sounds like a very simple, almost insignificant practice, but this will challenge your ego at the deepest level. You cannot really practice this without being challenged, and that's the beautiful part of it. It literally changes the entire way we relate to everything and live life from the core. But something within you already knows that resistance is not the way and that it only leads to pain. If that is your intuition, part ways with resistance. Walk the path of non resistance. The false identity or self image or ego, which is the idea of yourself, the veil, the cloak of illusion, gradually thins away as we practice non resistance, as we allow life to be what it is and what it is meant to become, rather than trying to make it into what I believe it should be. The false identity withers away. Our true identity makes itself known. That's what we call wisdom. Upon hearing this, you're going to see your mind resisting left and right. Literally, even today, you will. This teaching is not meant to stop your mind's resistance. The mind may resist. Let the mind resist. You are not the mind, my friend. Start seeing that. Stop identifying with the mind which resists. This takes even more pressure off of you. Because if you were given the instruction to stop resisting, you would not be able to do so. It's because you don't create resistance. So you cannot get rid of it. Let the mind resist. You stop being so invested in it. You stop believing in it. You stop feeling it to be true and legitimate. You stop pursuing it. And then it will have no power. It will fall away as quickly as it arose. It needs your belief. It needs your identification. It needs your life force, your attention, your love, your devotion. Did you know that in moments of suffering, you are devoting yourself to resistance? You are devoting yourself to illusion, to ignorance. That's all this is. It's just a replacing of where we are placing our devotion. From illusion to truth, resistance to non resistance. From ideas about what should be and should not be to life as it is. Is this not the most practical thing to do? Does this not make the most sense? Walk this path of non resistance. And yes, suffering can terrorize you for some moments, but it will not ultimately stick to you. And its capacity to stick to you will become weaker and weaker and weaker. Let's put this into practice and confirm it for ourselves in the difficult moments. The difficult moments are where you employ this, not where you run away from this because your resistance starts to feel more legitimate. All right, feel free to open your eyes.